My mom's words cut through the warm, flickering candlelight of the dining table like a blade. She looked me dead in the eye and said, "Maya, you'll never be as good as your sister." The clinking of cutlery stopped. My father nodded silently in agreement. Emma, my perfect, golden sister, smirked into her wine glass, her painted lips curving into the kind of smile that only deepened the sting, but I didn't flinch. Not this time. I stood up from my chair, exhaustion from a 12-hour hospital shift still clinging to my body, and I said something that made the entire room go silent. My name is Maya. I'm 28 years old. For as long as I can remember, I've been invisible, not literally but emotionally. The backup daughter. The afterthought. The one who worked double shifts just to pay bills while Emma got her life handed to her on a silver platter. My life was nothing glamorous. Nights spent in the ICU, desperately trying to keep heart monitors from flatlining. Weekends swallowed by tutoring kids just so I could chip away at student loans that seemed to multiply like weeds. And all the while, I stayed quiet. I never asked for help, never demanded recognition. I just endured, but no amount of endurance could erase the crushing feeling of being overlooked while someone else, someone who just happened to share my bloodline, was praised like the sun itself. It didn't start at that dinner. It started decades earlier. I was 7 when I realized Emma was the favorite. It was her 5th birthday, and my parents threw a huge party in our backyard: balloons, clowns, a bounce house, even ponies. When my 7th birthday came, around 2 months later, I got a small chocolate cake from the grocery store. No guests, no balloons, just, "Here you go, sweetheart. We're a little tight on money this month." But 2 weeks later, Emma got ballet lessons. By high school, the pattern was clear. Emma got a brand new car when she turned 16. I got her old bike with a bent wheel. When Emma brought home a B+ on her report card, Mom and Dad cheered like she'd won the Nobel Prize. When I brought home straight A's, Dad said, "That's expected of you, Maya." Even then, I swallowed my resentment, convincing myself it was normal. That's just how families worked. Fast forward to 3 months ago. That dinner wasn't supposed to be about me. It never was. It was Emma's celebration, of course. She had just landed a marketing job at some trendy startup, and Mom had turned it into a production. The house smelled like roasted chicken and rosemary. Candles glowed like it was Christmas. The expensive china came out of storage. All this for a job that barely paid half of what I earned as a nurse. I arrived late, straight from the hospital, still in my scrubs, my hair tied back, hands dry from sanitizer, my bones aching from 12 hours on my feet. "Maya, you're late," Mom scolded, not even looking at me. Her eyes stayed locked on Emma, who was laughing, twirling her wine glass, and describing how her new office had free kombucha on tap. Dad nodded like she was announcing she'd cured cancer. Mom beamed, as if kombucha was a divine blessing. I quietly slipped into the wobbly chair, the one no one ever wanted, trying not to feel small. "The creative director thinks I could be running campaigns in 6 months. Emma bragged. "Incredible, sweetheart." Dad said, "This company really knows talent when they see it." I tried to join in, tried to contribute. Actually, I got a commendation today. One of my patients went into cardiac arrest, and the doctor said my quick thinking saved his life. Silence. Mom glanced at me briefly. "That's nice, honey." And then instantly turned back to Emma. "Tell us more about the office culture, darling. It sounds so dynamic." Dad leaned forward. "Emma's really going places, unlike these dead-end healthcare jobs." That's when it happened. The sneer. The words that set fire to years of quiet suffering. "Maya, you'll never be as good as your sister." The words hurt. But what hurt more was Emma's smirk. No defense, no discomfort, just a satisfied sip of wine, as if Mom had complimented the weather. But here's what no one at that table knew. I'd been paying my parents' mortgage for 6 months, $2,800 a month, straight from my paycheck. Meanwhile, Emma got a $5,000 congratulations gift for her new job, money that had indirectly come out of my pockets. I stayed quiet that night, but inside, Something broke. 2 weeks later, the knife twisted deeper. During lunch at the hospital, I scrolled Instagram. That's when I saw it. Photos of Emma, my parents, and Emma's boyfriend in Hawaii. Palm trees, clear turquoise water, resort cocktails, smiles, sandcastles, sunset walks. Without me, they hadn't even mentioned a vacation. Not a word. I called Mom immediately. "Oh, Maya," she said breezily. "We didn't think you could take time off. You're always so busy." "You didn't even ask," I whispered. "It was last minute." Emma needed to decompress after starting her job. "You understand, right?" 3 hours later, Emma texted me. "Sorry, thought you knew. You're always working anyway. Hope you're not mad." I wasn't mad. I was gutted. The final straw came at Emma's 26th birthday. They rented out the most expensive restaurant in town. 50 guests, champagne fountains, a private room. I arrived late again, after a long shift. My dress was the nicest I owned, but it looked cheap against a sea of designer outfits. Mom stood and raised her glass. "We're so proud of our Emma. Some people are just born to succeed." Applause erupted. Emma glowed like a movie star. Then Mrs. Chen, Mom's friend, turned to me. "And what do you do, Maya?" Before I could open my mouth, Dad chuckled. "Oh, Maya's still figuring things out. Emma's the one with the real career." The blood drained from my face. I was an ICU nurse, saving lives every day, making more than Emma could dream of. But to them, I was a nobody. I held back tears until I got home. Then I cried until my eyes swelled shut. The worst betrayal came weeks later. I was helping Mom organize bills when I noticed something strange. Student loan statements. Emma's marked paid in full. 45,000 of debt. Gone. Paid directly from my parents' account. The same account I'd been funding. Shaking, I did the math. 2 years. 47,000 of my money. Not just a mortgage, Emma's loans, her car, even her credit card bills. I confronted Mom. "You've been using my money to pay Emma's loans." She didn't even flinch. "Emma needs to focus on her career. You have a stable job. You can handle it." I felt sick. I had been drowning, working myself half to death. To fund Emma's freedom, my colleague Jennifer was the first to call it what it was. "This isn't family support," she said bluntly. "This is financial abuse." She helped me gather records, bank statements, receipts, transfers, a mountain of evidence. So when Mom casually mentioned that I'd be covering Emma's wedding catering costs because you don't have expenses like she does, I finally snapped. I stopped paying the mortgage. Within a week, my phone exploded. Calls, texts, panic. "Maya, the bank called. You need to fix this. We depend on you." So I agreed, but on my terms. Dinner was arranged. Mom cooked like usual, as if food could disguise manipulation. Dad opened wine. Emma flaunted her engagement ring. They thought they would guilt me. Instead, I walked in with a folder thick with evidence. "You'll never be as good as your sister." Mom sneered again. That was it. The final push. I stood, hand steady. "Then ask her to pay your bills." I spread the papers across the table like cards. 47,000, I said coldly. "That's what I've paid in 2 years. Mortgage, Emma's loans, her car, even her credit cards. Every cent documented." Emma's face drained of color. I didn't know." "Of course you didn't. They wanted you to think you were special. But your success was built on my sacrifice," Dad stammered. Mom tried to speak. I silenced them. "You called me a failure while living off me. You celebrated Emma while draining me. Well, it ends now." I gathered the papers. "The mortgage is your problem. Emma's bills are her problem. I'm done." And I walked out. 2 weeks later, I accepted a new job in another city. Nurse practitioner, 6 figures, respect. Within 6 months, my parents' house was foreclosed. Emma's fiancé left when her lifestyle collapsed. For the first time in my life, their silence didn't hurt. It liberated me. I built a new circle, colleagues who valued me, friends who celebrated me, and I learned a truth I wish I'd known earlier. Sometimes the bravest thing you can do is walk away. Not every family deserves your loyalty. Not every parent deserves your sacrifice, and sometimes blood doesn't make people family. If you've ever been invisible in your own home, if you've ever given everything and gotten nothing back, know this. You're not alone. Drop a comment. Tell me your story. I read every single one, and hit subscribe because sometimes the strongest people are the ones who finally say, enough.